Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in one of my previous videos, we have seen how to use interfaces to do testing, unit testing for our Golang applications. It is used for mocking the dependencies, the third-party libraries that we have in our Go application. There is another way to do mocking and it's rather simple. It's very easy to implement. So today we are going to see how to do that. And in the end of the video we'll do a brief comparison between the method of interfacing and this method by using functions. So let's look at it. We are going to write a very simple main function, so let's write it. The idea of this main function is to simply return some basic details of our system, so like hostname and local time. So let's do that. Package main func main. So let's first define the struct to return. So type, let's call this info struct, and we are going to return the hostname and current time. So hostname, current time. Okay. So hostname we can get by os.hostname. So we'll get name this, and the current time should be time dot now dot say format. So there is a specific format in Go to represent the local time. So let's see how to do that. So let's search for 2006 because that is something they use. So yeah, so this is the time they use, January 2, 15/4/5/2006. So you'll return day, month, year, and hour, minute, second format. So let's do that. So 2nd of January, so 2nd of Jan 2006, and 15/4/05, right? So 15/4/05, and let's call this T. Then we're going to print this, and we're going to say info, right? So hostname would be hname, and current time will be t. So if we run this, go run main.go, works fine. So now let us put this code in a function and then we'll test that function. So all this will go, this stuff will be in, let's say, func getInfo, which is going to return us an info object, and we're going to say return this, right? Then we are going to test getInfo. Okay, let's run again. Perfect, works fine. So now let's write our unit test to test this function getInfo. So let's say main_test.go, package main func test getInfo, right? getInfo string, and we are going to call this getInfo. So let's call getInfo, take this information here, and we are going to use the one with assert. So there is a package for that, so this one, I like this one. It's very declarative and it's very clear what we are trying to test. So I'm going to use that. It has this equal method T. We're going to say the hostname should match. So basically you're going to copy this, copy and paste here. Then we're going to add the import. So H name is the expected one, and we get g dot hostname, right? And also the current time. So again, we are going to copy this, and this should be same here. So T, we're going to say g dot current time, right? So fine. So we cannot use T. So let's say TI. So TI, and then we're going to run the test. Run test. Oh, okay. So I need to initialize this because it needs this dependency. So we'll do that. Go mod init. Let's call it simple test. Go mod tidy. Should download the dependency. Done. Now let's run the test. All good, all fine, it's matching. This is what we expect. Now suppose in this function we are doing some additional work, and it's going to take, I don't know, let's say 1 second. So we're going to put a slip here to simulate that. So time dot slip for 1 second. So 1 multiplied by time dot second, right? All good. And now we're going to run it again. Looks good, and we're going to run our test. So as expected, the test failed. Why is that? Because when in this function, when the time is received, it's the current time, and then after that a task is performed for 1 second. So 1 second is added to the current time. But in the test function, when we are testing, we are getting the current time here. And when we call this function, this one getInfo, it basically doesn't give us the same time that we expect because of this delay of 1 second. So and in this case, the time is something that is coming from the operating system, and we don't have any control over that, right? So what we can do in this case, we can try to mock this value of time so that it always matches, and it's very easy to do. What we can do in this case is in main.go, while we call the getInfo function, we can send a function definition there, and in that function definition, when we are going to implement that here, we are going to take this time format, and then we are going to pass on to this structure. So in that way, we have control over what the value is going to be. So let's do that. So what we are going to do here is, let's first take a function. So f equal to func, which returns a string, and it gives us back this thing, all this. So Control X, Control V. So there is a function. We are going to pass this function here, and then here let's take this f func return string, and we are going to say t execute func, and then we are going to pass that t here. So what are you doing here? So we are passing a function type which is defined through variable f. We are passing that f, and we are simply executing the function here, getting the value and assigning it here. So this should continue to work as expected. Let's see. Voila. it works. So now we can modify our test function. So we can say that f equals to, what do we need? What do we need to set as a mock value? Any string which represents the time, right? So Control C, we're going to say func return string, and what does it return? Return this. We're going to add quotes here. So now let's pass f. So now this is constant because we know that it is always going to return this time. So we're going to pass here this value and this should now work. Let's run the test. And as expected, the time is matching. So let's just review once more. So this here we are defining a function f which returns the current time because it's time.now in this specific format. So this will actually give us, when you call from main function, this getInfo, this will actually give us the current time. And here we are saying that whenever this function is getting called, just return the string. So this is going to be constant when we pass this f here through getInfo function. So this is how we can modify, this is how we can set a constant value for mocking purpose in our unit test. So the advantage of this method compared to the interface method is that it's very easy to implement. We do not need to write interfaces and then define the implementations, and then in a mock file have one implementation for mocking purpose, and in the main one having the actual implementation. So I would say a lot time consuming than this one. Now, having said that, we should use interfacing method when there is a dependency on third-party library. That is the use case for using interface methods. Also, there are some cases where we may need to pass too many func like this, and with too many parameters passing to a function, it becomes confusing to understand. So in those cases also interfaces would be handy. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. So